with all my peers across the world. But I now don't directly manage anyone, but I manage, we call it matrix, and I pull from centers of excellence like recruiting, compensation, organizational effectiveness, and all sorts of employee relations. I have all these experts that I draw from and bring in to work with my business partner. And with them, I do strategic planning. So I think about the people and what do we do with this human capital. Let's see. So someone just messaged. I don't know what happened with my Zoom. I could not hear you. Is it okay if you can record it and put it on the BYU, this group page? So Salongo, do we have, or Lauren, do we have a way to record for someone?
Yeah, Lauren is recording. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So maybe Lauren, you can respond back. Oh, he said a direct message. Let me just send a note back. We are recording. Okay, perfect. Okay. So let me go back then. Let me go back and share my screen again, because there's some things I jotted down a presentation just to make sure that we I stay on topic with some things that I wanted to make sure I talk through with you. So some tips for kind of building a career. So you heard me talk a little bit about how at Sparklets Water, the group Danone, I tried to just take on anything. And so that was my first tip that I have for you. Be willing to step outside of your job description. Don't just stick to what you're supposed to be doing. If there's an opportunity to step up and volunteer for special projects, do it. Because that's how I got a lot of my experiences. And that's how I continually tried to work myself out of a job. So wherever I started, one of the first things I had starting as an HR specialist, I was responsible for all of the personnel files. Well, unfortunately, that meant at that time filing, filing paper in files. It wasn't digital. And I hated it. So I found all this other work that I could be doing and put forward a cost proposal about how we could do some outsourcing with the records and how we could hire a temporary person to come in on a shorter time frame and focus on the filing. And soon enough, that task was gone. So look for ways to create, prepare yourself for the next opportunity. Be curious and resourceful. And so try and find ways to teach yourself or go find answers that need to be answered. Try and teach yourself along the way. Go as far as you can and then ask for help. I appreciate that when people have worked for me, when they take the initiative to try and learn as much as they can. And then when they say, okay, here's what I've tried this, it didn't work. And I need some help. Can you guide me? That takes less time than someone coming to me and asking for everything. So be curious, be resourceful, take on what you can. Don't just focus on vertical movement. Focus on or climbing the corporate ladder. That's not as important as being willing to move horizontally and get the breadth of experience that you need. Breadth of experience in a business is very important. So I did a lot of the same jobs for a period of time. And that's how I got all those different business experiences with, let me shut my office door just a minute here, hold on. The dogs decided to come out and chase a bone in the hallway outside on the tile, so that doesn't work so well. So you heard a lot of these different businesses that I supported along the way, providing strategic HR support to. I've gotten to work with our cybersecurity department. I've gotten to find out ways how we have partnered with Secret Service and law enforcement and Facebook to break down fraud rings. There's so many amazing business experiences I have had by not just trying to go this way and climb my career, but go this way. And then you go this way. It opens up a lot. So think about that. And like I said, build a network. And most importantly, try and find a career sponsor or someone who can advocate for you and help you grow. I think those are some really important things. Let's see. So the other thing I wanted to mention to you is there is HR in any management role you take on. So this is a management society. I assume all of you, regardless of what career path you're going on, at some point you'll probably manage people. And one of the things that I see as lacking in a lot of managers nowadays is they have not learned how to manage people. They know how to run their business, but you have no business if you have no people that are working for you. So learn how to be a good HR manager, regardless of whether you're in HR or not. So the first lesson my boss gave me the first time I became a supervisor, my boss said to me, Vicki, you need them more than they need you. And I was like, they need me to tell them what to do. And I didn't realize, no, I need them. I need them to do the work. I need them to be successful. I need them to do it well. And I need them to do that so that I can be prepared. And I need them to even learn how to do the job I'm doing so that I can move on and do something different. You need to have succession planning. And so I realized very quickly after that, I realized, wow, I do need them more than they need me. And my perspective changed very quickly. Manage your human capital as an asset. So human capital is your people. That's how we talk about them from an HR perspective. Human capital, they're an asset. They're just like any other financial capital that you have in a business. Manage your human capital as the asset it is, just because it takes money to hire people, it takes money to train people. And when that talent walks out the door, it's going to cost you to do all that again. So think about how you manage those people. There's a saying that people don't leave great companies, they leave bad bosses. And I can tell you, I've done that once in my career, for sure, walked away because of a bad boss. And so think about that and the manager that you are and what you're doing for your people. The best advice I can also give you is set clear expectations up front. That will save you in the long run of having to have uncomfortable conversations about poor performance or something that isn't going the way you wanted it to go. So just set the expectations up front. And that comes with the next piece about having frequent verbal conversations. Stick away, I don't know if this will surprise you or not, maybe because of the environment we're in. So pre-COVID, this what happened pre-COVID. I had a manager that was sitting next, so that it's a call center. About 4,000 of those 6,500 people in the US are in a call center. And a manager decided to give feedback to the team member in an instant chat. So basically like texting on the computer to giving feedback rather than sitting down and having a conversation. So think about how that might feel. That's not always the best way to provide feedback. Maybe if you weren't in a private setting and you needed to course correct quickly, but this was a frequent pattern. And so it is important to sit down and have a conversation so that the employee can ask questions about or explain why they did what they did. And then you can talk through them and coach with them and develop them. So think about that. It's also important to to have those conversations so that you can kind of share where the company's going, even in team meetings. So that kind of conversation is really important too. So I kind of already talked through this one a little bit too, but work so that people leave your team for a promotional opportunity that you help them develop for. That's a great compliment to you as a leader when people move on, and it's because you develop them. Learn how to hire A+ talent. That could be a whole course in and of itself, but hire the best of the best to make you look good and to help you prepare to move along, to hire someone who can come in right behind you and do your job quickly, because then that means you can leave and do something else. And then never forget that sometimes taking 2 steps backwards to regroup, to regain, will help you go 10 steps forward. So don't be afraid to step back if it will help you in the long run move forward. So I'm gonna keep moving pretty quick here and save questions for the end, because I really want to talk about this. But talking about leadership. So one of my favorite books is called The Extraordinary Leader, and it talks about the importance of leadership and what that looks like. And the first part of the book talks about this. So envision this as a tent with 5 pillars, with character at the center. So if you pulled out that character, looking at this visual, that tent's going to cave in. And so the premise of this book is that at the center of everything you do is character, your character. And the quote says, personal character is the core of all leadership effectiveness. So then you build your character, and then you work on these other poles, which is focusing on results, personal capability, leading change, and interpersonal skills. And the book goes into each of these competencies and how you develop them to develop your leadership skills. And so I'm a huge fan of this book as an introduction to leadership and management. And so Solongo will talk a little bit about this, but Lauren, you have copied, did you get the books I sent? We are gonna raffle off these copies of the books. I wanted to get these in your hands and get you inspired. And so 2 of my favorite quotes, because I love quotes too, and I put them up everywhere. Leadership is a potent combination of strategy and character, but if you must be without one, be without strategy. Now that is very telling for an Army general who the art of war is strategy. But to him, the most important, if you have to be without one, be without the strategy, never be without the character. I think that speaks volumes. And then in this other book, The Inspiring Leader, this is a follow-up to it. So how to inspire. After you learn to be extraordinary and you build that tent, how do you inspire the people? And Vince Lombardi, who we know the Super Bowl trophy's named after, he said, leadership is based on a spiritual quality, the power to inspire others to follow. And I love that one, because if we tie that back to our Savior, think of the leader. He was he was a great leader, the leader that our whole church is built on. And so when I thought about that as a spiritual quality, how he inspired others to follow, there's a whole thought on servant leadership that's mirrored after our Savior. And so I thought that was a great quote for us to think about. So I want to shift and pivot a little bit here too, to some of the religious side of things. So in the middle of this career that I've been building, I've also been called by my Father in heaven to serve in his church. And I've been called to serve in young women's presidencies and Relief Society presidencies, to teach Sunday school. And I've had music callings before. So I've had to serve in a lot of different capacities too. And so learning to serve in church and to lead, I think is also an important characteristic. So how do you mirror those two things up? How do you how are you a leader at church, and how are you a leader in your everyday life? And what I've realized over time is, and through priesthood blessings, is that Heavenly Father loves all of his children on this earth. And when you're called to even lead and manage them at work, he is still mindful of them. And for so long, I think I kept those two worlds separate. And after hearing blessing after blessing with guidance, I realized that he expects me to show up at work like I do in a way at church. I'm that same person. And not that my values or my morals were ever different, but maybe I didn't look at those people that I worked with as sons and daughters of God. And as time has gone on, I've learned to do that. And one of the things that is so important too is what people learn about you, and what you're known for. And people have always said there's something different about you, Vicki. You know, we've worked with all these different HR people, but there's something different about you. You're really different. And I've realized that difference is Christ. Christ in my life, being able to go to my Heavenly Father in prayer and ask for guidance about how I need to handle something, or if unfortunately I have to tell, in a matter of 2 years, I had to tell 300 people that they didn't have a job anymore. But every night before I had to do that, and every morning, I would kneel in prayer and ask for help and guidance on how to do that with dignity and respect and love, and give those people hope for the future. And that's the difference of what you can bring with your religious backgrounds, and how you can share that love in your day-to-day work, and not just at church and the callings that you have. Um, there is one thing I just wanted to mention real quick here is, and that's where building, so talking a little bit about building your leadership brand. I would say I'm kind of known for being the voice of the people. That's what they've told me. And I'm a vault. Though that's kind of my brand, and creative thinking. I find creative solutions. So I wanted to mention Wells Fargo has this really great webinar series called Wells Fargo Beyond College. And this month, next week, they're doing one on defining and building your leadership brand. These are free. And I love the presentations that we do on developing a leadership brand. So they're also recorded. You can see them on YouTube. Any of them are out there. And I just wanted to mention it to you. So if you're interested, it's a great resource. I'd highly recommend using those. The other piece I wanted to call out to you is, I don't know if any of you have seen this, but in the Liahona, and it's only on the online version, it's not in the hard copy magazine, there's actually an article called My Advice for Job Seeking After College. And this was fantastic. I thought this was an incredible article, and so happy that it was in our church magazine. So wanted to make sure that you had the link to this, and it might take you 5 minutes or so to read through it. It's not that long, but I thought it was the best article I've ever read on looking for jobs. So make sure you take some time to read that. The last parting thought I want to leave you with, and then I'll open it up for questions and answers. But this quote couldn't be more perfect to represent how I feel about this crazy career journey that I've been on and why it all happened. It's a quote by Elder Uchtdorf, I urge you to believe that your life will be infinitely better if you rely on God to guide your steps. He knows things you cannot possibly know, and He has a future prepared for you that you cannot possibly imagine. And I know without a doubt that is true. I've seen that play out in my life, in my career. Um, just the fact that I ended up in this job, and you might have noticed there's no, I've studied organizational management at the University of Laverne, but I'm still 16 classes away from getting my bachelor's degree. I did finally go and get professionally certified in HR because I just was not finding time to go back to school. It's not my favorite thing. I greatly regret that I dropped out of school, and I wished I had done better. That I've got to plug my laptop in. I'm getting an error warning here. I wished I had stayed in school when I had the opportunity and had done it, because it gets harder as you get older. So don't drop out of college. Stay in college, finish your education, stay on a great path, because I feel like I'm a rare breed. I've gone quite far in my career. I work with the top three. I work up through the two down from the CEO of the company. And our company, Wells Fargo, has about 270,000 employees just in the US. There's many more around the world. But I've been very fortunate, and I know it's because of my prayers to my Father in heaven and the plan that He had for me. And it's far better than anything I could have ever crafted myself. When I've tried to go out and find a different job without really listening to the promptings I've had, it's never gone well. And every time I know that this is the right step for me and Heavenly Father helps me, it's always worked out. And it's always worked out better than anything I could have planned. And so trust in your Father in heaven. Go to Him in prayer, because you might feel like this is something temporal, but to Him, everything is spiritual. We are the ones who divide temporal and spiritual. To Him, all things are spiritual, and He wants you to be happy. He wants you to have the career of your dreams. He wants you to bless His other children here on earth with the talents that He's given you. And so I would encourage you more than anything to go to Him in prayer about everything you do and to trust in Him. And I know you'll be happy and fulfilled in the choices that you make. So that's a little bit about me, my story, some of my thoughts on leadership. What questions do you have?
Okay. Our Q&A moderator is Tiara, and I would ask Tiara to, if someone chat in the chat session, please read out loud and moderate us. Thank you, Tiara.
Don't be shy. This is the best part.
So we got a question from Luke, and he asks, as a leader, you must be capable of empowering individuals in the business. How have you led a team in a way that is empowering?
Ooh, that's a really good question. So here's my advice for trying to empower people. Don't tell them what to do. That's the easiest way. Okay. But so they need some guidance, but more than anything, they need to know you have faith in them. They need to know that you know they can do it. I think that's very empowering when someone expresses that confidence in you. So here's one of the things here's another approach of how I get to being able to empower people. Try to align people to do things that is a strength for them. So don't try and fix people with their flaws. Focus on playing to their strengths. So you have to learn your people. You have to learn what their strengths are. And then you align them to jobs that you need done where they can succeed. Then you reinforce that faith in them. You tell them, I'm giving you this because I know you can do X, Y, and Z. And here's some ideas. Now go and do and come back and let me know what your thoughts are, how we move forward with this. So that is my advice for trying to empower people. And a lot of times people come back and they'll, as long as you give them, remember that communication, set expectations up front, and then let them go. Let them go, let them come back and share. If, of course, correct where you might need to, but more times than not, they come back with something better than what I expected. So that also goes back to hiring your A+ talent. Hire the people that you know will really succeed and be the best. Really seek for people that complement you, that are not like you, that are different than you, and can bring different perspectives. And then leverage that and empower them, give them the rights and the privileges to go and do. Any follow-up on that? Looks like that was from Luke. Anything else?
There was actually a question right after that was asking, what is the definition of the best employee as a human resource person?
Ooh. I don't know. So that's really interesting. The best of an employee. Are you asking about an HR person themselves, or asking about just any employee in the eyes of an HR person?
Any employee.
In the employee, okay.
Because you mentioned that the A talented,
The A+.
yeah, plus employee, yeah.
Yeah, so I look for someone who can demonstrate. So when you interview people, ask them questions about, and ask them to give you examples. How have you? Share a time when. And so I'm going to look for someone who is able to demonstrate that they have good ethics and integrity. That's probably that character. So if I look back to my tent, that character, I'm going to ask them about difficult situations where they have to demonstrate their ethics. That's what I'm going to look for. I'm going to look for someone who can recognize where they've had challenges and aren't afraid to share those challenges, but can tell me how they overcame them and how that led to success. I'm going to look for someone who I know, like I said, I need that self-starter, someone who can go out and will be creative and resourceful in trying to find answers without coming to me and asking me everything, all the, the steps. Someone that I can trust more than anything too. Someone that I know I can handle, especially in HR, who can handle confidential information. So those are some of the things that I'm going to look for. Those are hard to find and to pull out in an interview. So that's why I was being serious when I said we could do a whole session on how to hire A+ talent, because we could. It is an art to interview people. It is an art to be interviewed and answer interview questions. And so, but to me, those are the things I'm going to look for. People that can demonstrate the competencies that I need, people that are different thinkers, and people that have an energy about them too, an excitement that I can tell they're excited about wanting to do the job.
So from that, just what it
Thank
sounds
you.
like is that, yes, thank you so much for that. Also, from what it sounds like is, if you were in an interview, if you were able to give answers that I guess showed what you're looking for, like was able to give you these things, that would be beneficial. in the end?
Absolutely. The other thing that I suggest people do too is, as you in work, when you're at work or work, you can, schoolwork, as you come across difficult situations, write them down and have them as a backup or a study guide to help you remember when you're interviewing. Oh, I did this, and I had this really big project, and I was able to do X, Y, and Z. And how those keep like a running tab of really good experiences you've had at work, so that when interview time comes, you can go back to those and refresh your memory.
All right, thank you. And then we have two different questions, but they kind of,
I'm sorry. I'm getting a little thing telling me my internet's unstable. I'm sorry. So I missed a little bit, Tiara, of your comments.
No, you're good. So I was just saying that our next question kind of relates with each other. So it says, what career mistake has given you the biggest lesson? And then what advice would you give to a younger self at the start of your career?
Those are really good questions. So I would say, oh gosh, I call it failing forward. So there have been plenty of times when I've had mistakes. I don't even know what my biggest mistake was, because I probably make enough of them all the time. But no, let's see. I'm trying to think. I remember, so I'll tell you about one because it kind of aligns with the next question too. So I remember early in my career, there was a mistake that was made around some compensation. And I remember my boss at the time taking it out on me when she had culpability in it too. She hadn't given me all of the information that I needed to do what I needed to do. And there was a mistake that was made. And I remember, to the point that I was so mad and I was so upset, that I ended up going downstairs to what was called the downstairs cafe. Literally, it was named that. And I still remember that, grabbing a piece of zucchini bread and going out in the parking lot and crying and sobbing and thinking, I was just shocked that she spoke to me the way she did. It was so inappropriate. And probably one of the biggest mistakes I made was not calling her out on it. And standing up for myself. And so that would probably be my advice to the younger self at the start of my career is, don't be a doormat. Don't let people walk on you. Stand up for yourself with respect. And I would learn how to push back in a dignified way. But I didn't have the communication skills at that point in my life to know how to stand up to authority like that. What I saw as an authority figure and someone I really looked up to, I was very hurt. And so I think I learned a lot. I know I learned a lot from that experience. More than anything, I learned how I would never treat someone. The other piece was she and the vice president of human resources. This was back in my first job. They had this thing about paying your dues. It was all about paying your dues. And how they treated people when compensation came around. And that is something that I did not agree with. And so one thing that I have done, and this is probably how led to part of my leadership brand of being the voice of the people, is that I will always do what's right by the employee with their compensation. I will not look at them have they paid their dues. I will look at their skills, their qualifications, and their background. And if they are ready to take a quantum leap in their career, I have no problem and have given people up to a 50% increase before, because I've realized that if we went externally, we would be paying them at that point. And so do what's right. Do what's right. Act with honesty and integrity, take care of those people. And that's something I learned very early in my career that I wouldn't do because of what things that were done to me. So that would be my advice, is don't repeat the sins of the past. Be your own person, carve your own way, live by your conscience, and do what's right.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that experience.
Yeah.
So I think we'll have time for one more question. And it says, what's your favorite thing about working in HR? And then what's your least favorite thing?
Okay, that's easy. So my favorite thing about working in HR is reorganizations. I love taking on a new business partner and restructuring things, looking at new ways of aligning, having a new business strategy. And my business partner comes in and says, I need to restructure and do this. And all these pieces and parts are everywhere, and now we're going to put it in an end-to-end model. And then I come in and help them work out the people part of it. And we strategize about how we're going to plan. So I love organizational planning, effectiveness, and aligning people to the perfect job. I love that. That's my favorite part. The things that I like the least are dealing with people problems. So when people aren't behaving at work, I don't enjoy, so I have to get involved in lawsuits. I've had to work with the FBI before on a cash vault defalcation that was, ended up with someone going to jail. It was crazy. It was crazy. So those are the things I don't love doing. I think people should come to work and do their job and not cause problems. And so, but I have some great stories about that too. So even though some of those people things are not the greatest to deal with, and I don't enjoy dealing with that, there are some funny things that come out of it. And so Lauren actually got to hear about one of them. One day, I had somebody resign their position with memes. And I kid you not, it was like this little guy flying in the air saying deuces. And then it was a Leonardo DiCaprio one toasting about being out of here and taking a permanent lunch break. It was hysterical. It was downright hysterical. So sometimes these crazy things people do, they make for the best material. I've had a guy once before put his head through a wall. He was only maybe 5 feet tall, and the hole was up maybe about 6 feet high. And I was like, how did he take a running leap to get his head through the wall up there? So, even some of the things I don't enjoy doing, they still can be quite funny at times. HR is quite the interesting place. So if you weren't thinking about majoring in HR, you might want to.
Perfect. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer some questions.
You bet.
So unfortunately, we've run out of time. So we're just going to stop there with the questions. But again, thank you so much.
You bet. It's good to talk with you all.
Wow, your stories are so funny. And I never really thought about that. Wow, when I think about HR position, it's always like, oh, recruiting people. But I never thought about the other part, another half that, dealing with all those problems and funny things. And sometimes, dealing with the people who are behaving, and I was like, wow, this is also big, it's lots of big things comes with this job as well. And
it is.
And now we are gonna turn the time over to Luke de la Cruz for the raffle. So today we have a surprise for all of our members and committee members, everybody who's participating in this event. We have great gifts from our guest, Vicki Poulson, and she mentioned earlier that she is giving away 2 of her favorite books, and those are right here with me. But I put this background. This is not my room, by the way. But I'm not sure if you can see this book or not because it's kind of covering. Yeah. Okay. There you go. This is the Extraordinary Leader book. The another one is the Inspiring Leader. It's right here. So brand new, really cool books are waiting for you guys. Whoever the lucky tonight gonna get these books home. So now I'm gonna turn the time over to Luke for the raffle, and he's gonna. We're gonna be fair. We're gonna share our screen and do it right in front of your eyes. So
Thank you,
after
Solo.
that, yeah, I'm gonna have the closing remarks. And yeah, thank you, Luke.
All right. Let me just share my screen here. Give me one moment. It's asking me to open system preferences and allow it to. Okay.
Yeah, don't worry. Take your time. I also was doing when it was Vicki was talking. It's really interesting that how we invited you for the event because you're literally the recruiting people, and here are all the students who will be recruited in the future. And I
Yes.
think it was a great lesson.
Good.
We're so
Good.
lucky to have you here today.
You bet.
Okay, I
Okay,
think
so I'm ready here. Can everyone see?
awesome.
So
It looks black. Can everybody
No.
see it, the screen?
I can
Yeah,
see
it's
scroll.
black.
Yeah.
It is. Is that right, Luke?
I'm not sure here. You guys can't see the Google Chrome page open?
I think.
This looks
That's
completely
weird.
black. If you're not really able to share it, I think it's okay. You can
This
go
is where
ahead
we go to the trust.
Okay, I
Yeah.
could just,
We're
I'll
gonna go
just
We
do it and then,
exercise trust.
so it
in
has
Luke.
everyone's name that's currently still here. And so, and
yeah,
I'm just doing it through this website. So
yeah,
the
it's a
winner,
random
first
picker.
winner is Brittany.
Woo! Brittany, where are you?
Brittany's
Yay!
first
Thank you.
winner.
Yeah. Wow. So the first book is Extraordinary Leader. Yay. Congratulations, Brittany.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So you can leave your phone number or email address in the chat. So I'll contact you and you can come and get your book.
Okay, and I
Thank
just
you.
did the next raffle and Tiara won the next one.
Tiara. Woo! Where are you, Tiara?
Yay!
Congrats, Tara.
Wow, so lucky of you. The Inspiring Leader is yours. So you can contact me and come and get your book. Wow, how lucky. All right, guys. And Luke, thank you so much for the raffle. Even though we didn't see the screen, we trust you. And I learned that trust is one of the empowering tool from Vicki. So I took many notes, by the way, so I'm going to review them afterwards. And thank you so much, everyone, for participation. And I would like to invite everybody to encourage everybody to join in a BYU Management Society. And we have Lauren, who's from recruitment. So if you, yeah, she's right there waving. Yeah, if you contact with her, talk with her, and she's gonna help you a lot in how to become a member. And finally, I would like to express our gratitude toward our great, awesome speaker, Vicki Poulson, for sharing her awesome, crazy stories that encouraged us. Wow, everybody is excited there and just doing this. And thank you so much. And definitely we learned so much from it, and that we can take into account. And when we go out and graduate from this school, we would love to apply all those principles that we have learned today. And we know that it's going to help us a lot, and to be a better employee and a better leader and employer in the future. And thank you so much for your time and effort for us.
You bet. You bet. And please connect with me on, you know what, in fact, let me go over here real quick and just share this so you can jot it down. But the last, here you go. Here's my connection information. I just wanted to make sure that you have that. But let's get connected for sure on LinkedIn. If you all want to connect with me, it's great to share those resources, and I'd love to be a connection with you. So stay part of this management society, leverage your network, and go and do great things. Thanks for having me, you guys.
Thank you, Vicki.
Yeah.
And everybody make sure
Thank
you
you.
connect with her.
Thank you.
Thank you